What if you could instantly read someone's inner emotional state around you without even hearing them speak? What if you intuitively just knew not to go to the party tonight? And how amazing would it feel if you began attracting people, events, and circumstances all in alignment with your goal and your higher self? Well, all of these things and more are possible through the law of vibration. And in this video, we're going to be talking about just how you can do that. We're going to be talking about what the law of vibration is, how our thoughts affect our vibration, and ways we can start using this law to attract more happiness, health, wealth, and peace. Have you ever walked into a room and immediately felt like something was off? Awkward. Well, this is because outside of our normal 5 senses, we have an innate 6th sense. But few of us really know what this 6th sense is, but we all experience it. Can any of you guys guess what that is? I'll give you a few seconds. It's something we call intuition, which is just another way of saying our inner ability to pick up on the vibrational fields of other people, places, and things around us, which is exactly why people say, the vibe's off in here. Or on the other hand, you can think of a more positive situation. Yeah, I like this environment. I feel good vibes in here. And in 1939, the vibrational sensation all of us can feel at certain times without seeing was captured on film by Russian scientist Semyon Krylyan. By placing an object on a photographic plate connected to a high voltage source, he was able to view the energy coming off of any mass, whether it was a human, a rock, or a plant. Yes, I didn't stutter. Even a rock is vibrating. Everything moves, nothing rests. And those of you that watched my last video on the law of correspondence realize this if you watch the Power of 10 video that I talked about, where they zoom into the human hand and realize that it is self-similar to the movement in the galaxy. Your atoms are constantly moving, not only at an atomic level, but also at a subatomic level, just like how the Earth rotates constantly around the sun. So why exactly am I telling you all of this? Because like I just talked about, if you didn't find this amazing enough, at the atomic and subatomic levels, we are a mass of energy made up of frequencies, and we live in a field of vibrational energies all around us. But what exactly is a frequency and why is it important? Well, a frequency is a level of vibration, and there's an infinite number of frequencies. And we have the ability as God's highest form of creation to think something which sends off a charge of energy and activates our brain cells in alignment with whatever we're thinking. And the more we think this way, the stronger these brain cells of that thought and that imagined reality get, until that reality is drawn to us through people, places, and circumstances in alignment, and I should say information because you'll get synchronicities, in alignment with that thought that you've been thinking. And Albert Einstein understood this perfectly when he said, everything is energy, and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics. And this is what we've talked about on almost every video on this channel. If you take care of the cause, then the effect will inevitably take care of itself. And in the 1950s, American radio broadcaster and author Earl Nightingale said essentially the same thing as Einstein in his infamous recording, The Strangest Secret. At the beginning of the recording, he talks about how the Nobel Prize-winning German doctor Albert Schweitzer was asked by a reporter, "What's wrong with people today?" To which the doctor responded, "People simply don't think." This is because mental activity doesn't mean we're truly thinking. We can see, hear, smell, taste, and touch. And when any of those senses are affected, it causes mental activity, which can cause pictures to flash into your mind. But this is not thinking. For example, if you heard a helicopter flying above you right now, you might have an image of a helicopter pop up into your mind, and you might visualize it, but that's not truly thinking. So then what exactly is thinking? Well, the first thing we have to understand is we have higher faculties than just our 5 senses. People occasionally hear about them, but most people don't know it's these higher faculties that truly help us think. These higher faculties or mental powers include perception, the will, reason, imagination, and intuition. And it's these higher faculties that separate us from the rest of the animal kingdom. And the crazy thing is, all the rest of the creatures on the earth are completely at home in their environment. They literally blend in. And the best ways we create our own environment or reality is through conscious spaced repetition. Conscious spaced repetition is the action of repeating something that has already been said, acted upon, or written every day. Multi-millionaire entrepreneur and motivational speaker Bob Proctor attributed his financial success to this exact formula. He explains how when he was just getting out of the Navy and was drowning in debt working dead-end jobs, he felt angry and depressed at life. Fortunately, at the age of 26, he met a man that would forever change his life. It was this man he met that recommended he read a book that helped him become a millionaire in the past, called Think and Grow Rich by Napoleon Hill. After reading the book, Bob followed every instruction presented by the author on how to become rich, but it was one hidden piece of advice that would forever change his life. This advice was to take out a piece of paper and write down your main goal. Carry it in your pocket everywhere you went and read it as often as possible. So whether stopping at a red light or going to the bathroom, he would take out his goal card and reread his goal throughout the day. And less than a year later, Bob went from earning just $4,000 a year to over $175,000. So why did this work out, and what does this have to do with the law of vibration? This worked for Bob because every time he put his hand in his pocket and he touched his goal card, his goal would flash onto the screen of his mind. He painted the picture of what that vision would look like and feel like with his words on the card, and it literally stuck into the cells of his brain. And over time, through repeatedly doing this, he strengthened those brain cells and set up a vibration in harmony with his goal. Here's an example of how this works. So let this drawing represent you. The big circle represents your mind. The top half of it is your conscious mind, and the bottom half is the subconscious mind. And the little circle underneath, that represents your body. And the positive and the negative sign on either side represents the law of polarity or the law of opposites. We'll talk about that later in another video, but for this video, just understand that's positivity or negativity. So now what happens is we have a power that's flowing into your consciousness. And when this power flows into your consciousness, you create thoughts. Think about how cool this is. You literally create thoughts from a power that flows into your conscious mind. You can originate thoughts and you can think something that no one else has ever thought of before. This is such a gift, and you have a unique ability to do this. And it's the thoughts that you think in the conscious mind that you impress upon the subconscious mind, which in turn then causes you to feel the way you feel. Feeling something is conscious awareness of vibration, and those feelings are expressed with and through your physical body. That feeling then causes action, which then produces results. Now, getting all of these lined up, that's called an attitude. Some people line up on the negative side and they're always going to see what's wrong with something. And you know what? From their perspective, they're right. There is something wrong with something. And other people go onto the positive side and they see what's right. And they're right, there is something good. You see, you can find what's right or wrong in any situation. Doesn't matter what you're looking at. If you look hard enough, you'll probably find evidence to support what you're thinking. Which is why if you want to find out what's wrong with the world right now, just keep looking, you'll find evidence. But on the flip side, if you want to find out what's good in the world right now, just keep looking and you'll find all of the good that there is. This drawing is extremely important to understand when it comes to getting to know yourself. The conscious mind is the thinking mind. It's also referred to as the educated mind. And as I keep building this idea, you're really gonna get to know yourself. This is something that has changed my life dramatically and completely flipped all my negative circumstances around into positive ones. And I know that you're going to understand the world you live in and the laws that govern your being a lot better. And as you understand yourself a lot better, you're gonna find that your finances will improve, your health is gonna improve, and your relationships are going to improve. Your whole world literally is going to start to get better as soon as you start applying what I'm gonna talk about next. So back to what we're talking about. The educated mind is sometimes referred to as the intellectual mind. We talked about this a little bit earlier. You have perception, the will, reason, imagination, memory, and intuition. These are our mental muscles, and as you start to understand how to develop them, you can become a very powerful person. Not in a powerful way to subjugate people under your dictatorship, which is the system we're currently under, but in a powerful sense of that you know your true place in the universe, you know where you came from, and that you have a true purpose and reason for being here on this earth at this exact time. All right, so right underneath we have the subconscious mind, and this is your emotional mind. And when you're emotionally upset, you've got the wrong ideas being fed into this part of your mind. Now, if we go back to the conscious mind, because you can think, you have the ability to choose. And because you have the ability to choose, you can either accept or reject everything that comes to you. And if those things we just talked about weren't already cool enough, we have the ability in this part of the mind to originate our own thoughts. The subconscious mind, on the other hand, doesn't have the ability to do all of those cool things. The subconscious mind must accept whatever you give to it. It has no ability to reject. So here's what's extremely important to understand. It's what you impress upon your subconscious mind that ultimately turns into results in your life. Your subconscious mind cannot differentiate between what you've imagined and what's real. It has no ability to differentiate between the two. Unfortunately, most people imagine what's wrong. They think about what they don't want rather than what they do want. Let's take that knowledge and we'll say this is you today. So there's information coming at you today, and it's terrible information and it's flowing into your conscious mind. Now, wait a second, before you freak out, you have the ability to either accept or reject this information. You could say to it, literally, get out of here, and it'll go. But most people don't do that. Instead, this is what they do. They're not thinking at all, and their subconscious mind is wide open. And that information goes right into the subconscious mind. Remember what we said about the subconscious? It has no ability to reject all that negative information. So if we know that, then why do we leave our mind open like that? Well, the sad thing is, it's our paradigm. Paradigm is a fancy word of saying programming. It's literally how we're programmed. And we've been programmed to live that way. So you're probably thinking to yourself, what the heck? Who programmed me this way? Why would they do that? That's so stupid. Now, I'm gonna tell you who it is, but you can't get upset. Let's take a look. This is you as an infant. And your subconscious mind was wide open when you were born, which is why whatever language was spoken around you was the language you were gonna learn. If there was more than one language spoken around you, you would have learned more than one language. Everything going on all around you, all that love, the hate, the prejudice, it's all programmed into your subconscious mind. And the paradigm years later, here we are, people, they've learned all kinds of information, but they're not doing it. Their old paradigm is still in control. This is why you can have someone with a ton of book knowledge from school up here in the top section of the mind, and they can have all these degrees and know these numbers and know these programs and formulas and complicated mathematical skills, arithmetic, all that stuff. But the knowledge in their conscious mind doesn't match the results in their body and their actions and behaviors and the life they're living. So why is it then that a person can have a great formal education but still struggle to pay for rent and afford a nice vacation? It's because all they know up here in their thinking mind isn't working for them because their paradigm is in control of them. The paradigm is in the subconscious mind. It's habitual, learned, programmed behavior. And their results in life are nothing but an expression of that paradigm, which is all that conditioning that took place before they could even think. So if you want to change your results, it's essential that you change the paradigm. And a paradigm is a mental program that has almost exclusive control over our habitual behavior. And almost all of our behavior is habitual. So here's the truth that will help set you free if you truly understand what I'm going to tell you. You truly can create your own reality. And whether you're consciously aware of it or not, you're doing this every second of the day. And as we discussed earlier, energy functions on frequencies. A frequency is simply a level of vibration, and there's an infinite number of levels of vibrations or frequencies. Let's take a look again at what Albert Einstein said. He said, everything is energy and that's all there is to it. Match the frequency of the reality you want, and you cannot help but get that reality. It can be no other way. This is not philosophy, this is physics. So here's the trick. Sit down and decide what kind of life you actually want, and then say no to everything that isn't that. Wants are where it starts in our conscious mind. But where do these wants that we have come from? We're going to talk about this. Our wants come from the center of our being where our spiritual DNA is perfect. It's literally the greatest part of us we'll never see. There's perfection in all of us. But unfortunately, that perfection has so much junk on top of it that we call paradigm that it has difficulty truly expressing itself. And it's this spiritual perfection within us that's always seeking expression with and through us, which is exactly why we always want more. And the want in itself is not just to get something. Yeah, that's a side benefit, but the want is to grow. It's literally there to bring more of you to the surface. You have to realize, like I always talk about, you're God's highest form of creation on this planet in the universe. And over time, if you keep thinking about these wants and feeding into those wants, the wants turn into desire. The word desire comes from the Latin word deicere, which means to give birth to the children, or in this case, to give birth to the idea. So here's how all this works, and you can use this to achieve whatever it is you want. The want creates the desire, and the more you feed the desire, the stronger it becomes. Desire is the effort of the unexpressed possibility within yourself, seeking expression without through your actions. The desire is what moves into form. That's what you want to do. It's all vibration. It all has to do with energy. And this not only works on an individuated scale of our own personal achievements and accomplishments, but it works, as we talked about in the Law of Correspondence video, in the collective scale, in the aggregate, with all of our individuated consciousnesses and our ways of thinking coming together and producing a result that influences and impacts everyone in society. We have to realize every second of the day, we are sending out vibrations into the cosmos. Negative things come back as people send out negative vibrations, and positive things come back as people send out positive vibrations. Think of every individual human being as an instrument playing alongside all other human beings in a concert. And this concert, we can call it life or manifested reality. The more finely tuned our instrument is, or meaning the more positive in alignment our vibration is, then the better sounding the music will be. If too many people have out of tune or out of vibration thoughts, emotions, and actions, then the life experience in the physical domain we live in will be out of harmony and chaotic, like hearing out of tune instruments at a concert. We are spiritual beings living in a physical body, but we're all connected to a universal source. When we send out negative vibrations purposefully given to us by the powers that should not be, we receive, as a majority, those same negative vibrations back, which then perpetuates a negative feedback loop and puts humanity further into chains. But if the majority of people send out positive vibrations like love, courage, and an understanding of our higher selves, then we as a whole and as a collective set up a positive feedback loop, which then in turn frees humanity. But it all starts with us changing our thoughts, and then through positive actions and behaviors in the physical world, being the change we wish to see, as Gandhi said.